What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're out in the shop today. I finally got the metal in for the drawbar to build for the tractor to pull the scraper with, and that's what I got laid over here on the sawhorses here. That should make a pretty solid drawbar, huh? That's 1.25 inches by 6, and then 3 by 3 solid, 1.25 inches by 3. And so the way this is going to work is we got to drill a hole through here, a hole through there, so a pin can go all the way through, and that eyelet on the scraper over there will go in between here, and the pin will go through all of it. So we got to drill some holes here all the way through this 3-inch to put 2 bolts to bolt it. I've got to drill a hole on this end to mount it to the tractor, and I'm going to narrow this end here so it'll be about the same width as this, where it actually hooks up to the implement at. But we need this width back here for strength. The one that's on the tractor here is 1.25 inches by 2.5, and you see the pins here. Well, these pins will come out, and you can move these pins over to these holes here, and that'll allow me to slide that piece of 6-inch in there, and then there's plenty of clearance up in the back there for the 6-inch to go in. So that ought to be about 2.5 times as strong as what that is, if not 3 times as strong. So I think that's going to work out good for us. We just got to get figured out how to drill this hole through this 3 inches of material, because my mag drill only goes 2-inch depth of cut. So I'm probably going to drill from one side, drill from the other side, and I got to figure out how to hold this. I may have to tack weld it to something, because the mag drill base is not going to fit on this. I'm going to have to figure something out how to hold this. But anyway, that's kind of the setup, what we're looking at there. So I guess the first thing we need to do is pull off the one off the tractor here. And these drawbars on this class of tractor is supposed to be from the center of this hole right here to the end of the PTO shaft, 14 inches, or roughly. You know, if you're off a 1/4 inch or something, it's not the end of the world. But that's kind of what it's supposed to be. I think there's a 16-inch measurement as well, maybe an 18-inch measurement when you get into the bigger tractors. Some of them are adjustable. On the other tractors, bigger tractors, they're adjustable in and out. This one is not on this particular tractor here, adjustable. It's just 14 inches from here to the end of that. But let's see if we can get this thing removed here. It's an 1.5 inch socket I got on my 3/4 inch Milwaukee. I guess it's got a pin in there. I wasn't expecting that. I figured it was some kind of bolt. But I guess it's that and the pin holds it in. Which I'm sure the pin's froze up. Alright guys, so I was able to get that out of there. Luckily it wasn't froze up in there too bad. Clamped on it with these vice grips and just wiggled it a little bit and kept wiggling it. I finally got it to come on out. That's kind of a strange design. I wasn't really expecting that. I figured that was all one piece, that when you unscrewed it, the whole thing come out, but that's kind of unique. Other thing, this drawbar is adjustable. I didn't think it was. It's hard to tell up in there, but it looks like it is. So I was wrong on that as well. It was already set on the all the way in mark, so that's 14 inches. Evidently that's the 16-inch measurement there. And you would just slide it out and of course move your pin over. So I didn't know that was like that, but it was already in all the way anyway, and that's a position that I would put it back in. So I get this laid out over here. This drawbar looks like it's already bent. So I thought about shortening this original drawbar up instead of buying the stuff to make a new one. I thought about cutting it off shorter, and it would probably held the weight of that scraper if I shortened it up. But the problem with that is I would not be able to use a drawbar to pull a PTO implement. That's what the length is from the end of the PTO shaft to the center of the hole. It's supposed to match up, I think, with your PTO shafts on like a PTO driven implement or whatever. So I didn't want to do that, so I figured the best thing would be to make a heavier drawbar, and they can still be used with everything. And then the top piece will just bolt on there. If you need to take that top piece off the drawbar of them building, just remove 2 bolts and pull it off. So we got to clean this pin up, figure out what diameter it is, so know what diameter to drill the holes. It looks like about a 1-inch pin to me. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And the pin where the drawbar goes in the end is going to be 1.25 inches. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like a 1-inch pin. I'm not sure. So I got a 1-inch bit. I think I got 1 1/16, which would work. Anyway, so that's that. We need to move our pins over here if we can get them out. Move that over one hole. Move this one over one hole. And then their water drawbar should slide right in. All right, so I'm getting ready to lay my holes out. This first hole here is going to be where the drawbar pin goes in for the implement side, and I think I'm going to make that 2 inches is what I got in mind. The one here off the tractor is only 1.5 inches from the end, so it would be here would be the center of the hole. I'm going to move it back a little bit. It looks like it's a little close to the end of it to me, and I've got a little bit of extra room here on this piece of material that I ordered. I ordered it a little bit longer, 6 inches wide. So we're gonna go 3 inches to be the center of it, right there. I cannot see this color that I got here. I need to get a different color. I just cannot see that. I may have to use some soapstone over there to see that better. It's not showing up great. We'll get us a center punch here. Center punch it right there. I believe will work. Now we're going to check that again with a tape measure. We may have to maneuver it over just a touch, which it ain't got to be that perfect, but we want to get it as close as we can. All right, that's dead on, and we're just going to repeat the process here. So I'm going to lay this out the same way, except this is only 3 inches wide here, so we're still going to go back to 2 inches right here. And see, I can see that color on that one better. I don't know what the deal is with that, but anyways. Do it that way. And it'll become 1.5 inches across this way. And I ordered this metal here from a place called Midwest Aluminum and Steel or something like that. I was buying this stuff from Metals Depot. When I needed stuff like this, just a small amount of metal for projects, and I needed, you know, a precise cut with a bandsaw. You don't want something like this. You really don't want it cut with a torch and everything, and then you have to mess with it. So anyway, I ordered this from there. Local metal store don't keep anything these dimensions. You know, it's pretty specific. It's got to be 1.25 inches. It's got to be 6 inches wide. You know, local metal store keeps up to like 1-inch stuff. And so anyway, I had to order this. So I ordered it from a place called Midwest Steel. I've never ordered them before. It took them a couple of weeks to get it to me. Time they got it cut and everything. And same thing with Metals Depot. But Metals Depot didn't have the 6-inch piece of flat bar that I needed right here, 1.25 inches thick. They only went up to like 4 inch or something. And so that's why I wound up finding a different place to order from. I think I got that one off just a touch too. Maybe I didn't. We're off about a 32nd. See if I can walk it back this way a little bit. Yep. we're on the money now. All right, so that's where our main drawbar pin is going to go through, right there. All right, guys, so I've got figured out that from the center of our hole here to the line here where our other piece of bar is going to go, in other words, the clevis part of it here, should be 3 inches. So this is where the block will go in here, and this is where the pin will go for your implement. So our eyelet over there is only 2.5 inches, and did some measuring and stuff. About 3 inches is what we're going to need. So this will be our first bolt hole right here, and this is going to be our second bolt hole back here for our block. This is a little bit too long, so I could shorten this up probably 1 inch or 2. So I'll have to see what I'm going to do on that. This stuff may be fairly difficult to cut straight with a bandsaw. But anyway, that's probably what we're going to do. I had it ordered just a touch long because I wasn't exactly sure until I got it trying to get everything laid out here. But anyway, so we may wind up cutting off a couple of inches of this, and but that's going to work, I think. These will be probably 5/8 holes maybe, and that's 1 1/4 inch hole. I got to copy these 2 holes over here, and we can drill this, and then we'll be ready to drill our block over there. All right, guys, still transferring those other 2 holes. I just went ahead and measured and set this on top of this other bar here like it's going to go, and so I'm going to go ahead and drill through this one as well as the other. I got this bar clamped in place here, so hopefully it will stay put when I start drilling. That's a 11/16 bit, and that's what the holes in the old drawbar is, 11/16. I guess that'd give you a little bit of extra slack. Make sure you get your holes lined up with a 5/8 bolt. So let's get the drilling. Slug came right out. It's starting to get a little hot down in that hole there. All right, I marked a line down the side of this so I could tell if our plate moved on us. It does not appear that it did. And we'll set her back up there and we'll continue to drill on through. Like that right there. Lock our magnet back down. stroke of our drill, so we'll have to finish drilling through the other side in a bit. All right, we're set up to cut the 1 1/4 hole. Man, at the shavings. And there's our slug. And we'll go right back to drilling. We'd like a little bit from going through the bottom, but I got to take this top bar off so I can go on through the bottom because I don't have enough depth to cut on my drill. So those holes should all line up. This out the way. and switch back cutters to our other size over there and drill the other holes. My bar sitting on the edge of that sawhorse is not good. We should be dead with the 1¼ bit. Back to the 11/16. I need to slide this so I don't hit my sawhorse, ideally. Slide it a little further one way or the other. Maybe I'll go back this way. Alright, so I got this 3-inch solid block sitting up on top of this other piece. I've got my spacing right, got me a line marked right here. This is where the pintle eye or whatever will go, the eyelet. And so I think what I'm going to have to do is put me some tack welds on here on each side to hold this in place. Flip this bar over. I can drill through the holes I just drilled through this plate to start drilling into this. And then I'm going to have to weld something onto here to have a place to put my drill to finish drilling through this side, or maybe I'll cut the tacks back loose, flip the bar over and drill from the other side, but it's still not going to go deep enough drilling through this right here. But I think that'd be the easiest way to get my hole location. I'm not sure. Let me think on it in a minute and figure out what the best way to go about this is. Alright, so I fired the welder up, put me a couple tacks on that right there, just to kind of hold it in place for the time being. So I can flip this back over and I can drill, I'll start drilling these holes here as deep as I can get them. Well, I just broke the bit off.
Oh well, I got a 5/8, so that ain't but a 16 smaller. We're going with a 5/8 bolt. I should still be able to get something accomplished, unless I break it too. Alright, so I guess I'm going to have to cut this back apart and get that bit out. All right, so I center punched, I measured these, the center of these holes, I center punched them on the other side of this, and I tack welded this bar on here. So when I turn it over, that should give me a working surface to set my drill on right there in order to drill these. I hate that I broke my drill bit, but I was just trying to force it in there too much, didn't give the chips time to clear out, and that's what happens. I went all the way down as far as it could go. See if I can move it forward and do the other one now. I don't think these things is far from being cut all the way through. We'll try to knock them loose. It didn't like much. Not much at all. And I got to go through clean that hole up in there. gotta just use this die grinder to clean that up, keep from having to re-weld this up here and all that stuff. I don't know how well it's gonna work, but. Alright, we got our holes wallered out there a little bit. They are definitely not perfect, but I think they'll work for the application. I'm going to cut this bar here off, and then we'll slick this up, and it should be ready to go. Now I need to clean this up with a flat disc, those old welds there where I tack welded it. Alright, so I went ahead and run a small bead of weld down each side of this. It's not structural, it's just to hold it in place. The bolts, you know, are going to go through everything and sandwich it all together. But I wanted it to be one piece. That way if you needed to remove the bolts and remove this, you didn't have two separate pieces to keep up with and get lost. You could just take this whole block with your bolts, throw it somewhere, and then you could have it whenever you needed it again. So anyway, I'm going to try to take a bandsaw, a portable bandsaw, and cut down this line right here. Hopefully, I don't know how well that's going to work because that's some really thick metal, but I guess we're going to find out. So I was debating on leaving this longer because this is a top, and you can kind of throw a strap over this, but I think it'd be best if I could go ahead and cut it off and use the pin for if you need to hook a strap through, because that'll probably cut the strap anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off, or at least I'm going to attempt to.
Yeehaw. A little bit crooked on that corner right there. We'll clean it up with a flap disc. It's hard to hold a bandsaw straight, portable bandsaw straight through something that thick. All right, well, with some time with a flap disc and a grinder, I've got that looking somewhat acceptable. It's not the straightest in the world, you know, but for what we're working with, it's going to work. And so that will go something like that right there. The pin will drop through it. It's just a like of that. All right, so I have drawn me some lines here, from here down the side, and then coming right down here to shave off with a torch on each side. And then we'll round the corners off, and that'll be that. There's a spot going all the way through. that looks rough. I probably should have took some time to find another tip over there. It's a number 2 tip that ain't big enough to cut through that. Probably should have found another tip over there so I could get a cleaner cut. But I think I can wash that off of there and get it, run a flat disc across it, it'll be all right. Alrighty, so after a lot of flat disc use, I've got that acceptable there. I really should have changed that torch tip to a bigger size to cut through that a little easier, but that's gonna work. It just took a lot of flat discing. Sometimes being lazy can cost you more work. I was too lazy to go find another tip and change it, and wound up having to do a lot more work with a flat disc there. But anyway, I got my other 2 holes here that go on the tractor side of the drawbar where the pin goes through on the bottom side of the tractor. And so we're going to drill those, and then we'll probably radius these corners right here maybe, and we'll be about done other than bolting it together and putting it on. Alright, I got those 2 holes there drilled. I had to drill them 1 1/16. I don't have a 1-inch cutter, but I had 1 1/16. So we got just a little bit of slack in there, you know. It ain't very much, just a little bit, but it's adjustable now to 2 different holes. You can't adjust it, make it go in further because it'll hit the back of the transmission case in here the way it goes up under there. The transmission bolts come in right about here, so that's the only 2 holes that you can make adjustable. Otherwise, you could drill back further and make it slide in further. But anyway, that's all she's got right there. But I think that's going to work. You know, those holes may wear a little quicker like that because they got a little slack in them, but the tractor will probably be wore out before that wears enough to really cause an issue. So anyway, not going to worry about it. It's just about ready to go on there. I'm going to let it cool off, and I may try to touch up just a little bit more with a flat disc. I see a couple spots that ain't perfectly straight as I would like them. Other than that, she's ready to go. Alright, so I just got back from Tractor Supply picking up a couple bolts. They did not have a 7-inch bolt, which would probably have been ideal. They had 6s or 8s. I went with the 6s because the 8s were going to be too long. It took a bunch of washers to take up the slack. The 6s, I'm not going to put any washers on, and they should come out flush, at least according to my calculations, however right that may be today. So I've got this thing already painted. The paint is somewhat dry-ish. So let's see if we can get this thing up here. Should set up there like that. We need to put a pin in, and that way the pin will line up the hole. So when we tighten our bolts down, we'll make sure that the pin will go in the hole. I'm gonna set you guys down over here. Alright guys, well there it is. I had to shave just a little bit of that paint and the sticker off of that pin right there to get it to fit down in there, so it's a snug fit. Jeez, that thing's heavy. Uh-oh. It ain't gonna fit back there, I don't think, because of bolts. There's some bolts in the way. I'm gonna have to cut it down, taper it down on the back side. Huh. Wish I'd have found that earlier. Just on the corners there. But that's what it's going to look like anyways. It's just got to go up in there further. There's 2 bolts that come in from the bottom that hold that to hold this bracket here to the bottom of the rear end housing. So I'm going to have to cut that thing down some. Alright, so I got what I need marked out on here, and I'm going to change this torch tip to a number 4 because I don't want to go through what I went through earlier when I didn't change it like I should have to cut something this thick. But I got it marked out here 1 inch in, 6 inches long. So just going to take off a strip off of each side there, and that will allow that thing to slide in like it's supposed to. to other tip that I use more commonly back in there, because I usually don't cut nothing this thick. Occasionally I do. It's usually for scrap or something. Usually ain't something I'm working with. It is today. So anyways, go find my glasses. Worked out a little bit better. Whew. All right, guys, so I've got that trimmed off of there where it should go in between the bolts. As I say, the bolts come up beside it, so it should slide right in there now. Let's hope. That thing's hot. All right, she's in there. Just got to get her pin lined up. Let's see here. Figure out where the hole is at. She is tight. Oh, jeez. So, that thing ought to be ready to go now. Freaking 400, 500 horse a drawbar for about a 500 horse tractor on a 100 horse tractor. Well, I guess let's see if this thing will hook up and work.
it'll pick the back tires off the ground. It's enough down pressure for that. The tires 4 inches off the ground, so it ought to cut pretty good. It's just sitting there idling now. It goes a lot faster than that when you rev it up. That should work. So that thing is quite long. Hopefully it'll fit on the trailer. If it does, it's going to be really, really close. Hopefully it'll work all right. I guess we'll find out.